And that was the short film, short film, Washed, made by yours truly sitting across from me. Is that you guys? That's you guys. Miss Sadie, find me a seal, Ervine.
Bad joke.
Bad joke. Inside bad joke. Hi, Sadie.
Hi.
Hold on, I'm trying to get things working again. It's not really
wait.
working too well. What's going on? How was your day?
I'm doing good. Day was good. Just finished the holiday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling like an American.
What?
I don't know. I feel pretty patriotic, you know?
Why?
I don't know. It's just everyone has their flags out and they're all like very gung-ho America, and you're just reminded that you're part of this country. It sounded negative. It's a good country.
Well, speaking of countries, you were just recently out of the country.
I was.
Northern Africa, right?
Yes. Yep.
Just a little smaller.
For 3 months.
Yeah, I know. That was 3 months ago?
No, I was there for 3 months.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I got back a month ago.
So it's been 4 months now since you were gone, right?
Since I left.
Yeah, since you left.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
Well,
oh my god.
Time is weird.
How was your time over there?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, the first time I went overseas, I went with a team. So I had 2 leaders and I don't know, maybe 11 other girls that were my age. And we had a schedule and we were being led, and the leaders literally just told us to show up, do this, get your passport. We're doing this today, we're doing that today, follow me this way. So it was very organized, and all I had to do was show up and depend on the Lord to move. So when I went this time, it was just me, and I had to figure out all the logistics, where I was living, who I was staying with, who was going to show me around, going through the airports, all of these things.
So you didn't go with the team this time?
No.
Okay.
No, I just flew over there. But I met up with people who were friends of friends through a certain company. So I knew of people that were there, but when I went there, it was the first time that I met them. So I wasn't going to meet friends there. I was just going to meet people and create relationships from the ground up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to go there by yourself?
By myself.
See, I'm confused because I thought that it was with like a group.
No.
Okay.
So I was doing a school, and the first part of the school is lecture, and the second part is outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn things and then you go and apply them.
Okay.
So I did the lecture part of my school, which was all about strategic missions and how to do missions the right way, not with like a white savior mentality, and not with just being smart about things and being humble and taking time to get to know the culture and the people and the language, and really immersing yourself within those people to see God in them and know their worldview and then minister to them.
Yeah.
Not just going and preaching the Western gospel and expecting fruit, and when you don't see fruit, you burn out,
Yeah.
So we want to do it a different way. Wow, those are loud.
Those are really loud.
Lord be with them. But so yeah, I did the school in 2019, and I was gonna go in 2020 overseas, but then Corona.
Yeah.
So I was home for that whole year, and that's when I think I met you and Troy.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to be overseas, but I wasn't. And God knew that, and He was doing things in me.
I was gonna say, I think that really turned out to be a big blessing for you with the people that you got to connect with, and the different types of even cultures here in this area that you got to connect with, and I think that really brought out a bit of your creative side.
Yes.
Over the time.
Yes, He gave me an environment where I had freedom to experiment and kind of dig into my passion and see, okay, what is my vision with this? What did God put inside of me?
Yeah.
And so when I went there and I brought my camera, I had more knowledge, like logistical knowledge, but also what God was doing in me, and how much this really isn't about me or in my hands. It's kind of something he's doing through me. Like, I'm just a vessel. Yeah. So if anything, it took off pressure because I knew his hand was over this. It wasn't, Sadie was the leader of this. It's him. Yeah. So yeah, it was a really good refining time. And then I went overseas. And yeah, the Lord was very specific on which country he wanted me to go to. I planned to go for longer, but then I ran into visa issues, so I only stayed for 3 months. Okay. And then I came back home.
So what was the culture like where you were at, and did you get to interact with any people that kind of stuck with you?
Yes.
Yes. Also, I'm going to try and keep this as serious as possible, but I can't promise that.
I bring out people's silly sides. Anyway. They tell me. Anyways, okay. Culture there, different. It was Islamic, so very different. Which I thought I was going to go there and go through some really bad culture shock, but I really didn't. I felt like I slipped in pretty easily. And I think that's because I've been overseas before. I went to Asia last time, and that was really different than America. So that's when I was like, okay, this is culture shock. I'm overeating. I want to isolate, all these different emotional things that you go through. And so for some reason, I think it was the Lord's grace. I went there and I was just in it, and I was like, okay, this is the culture I'm living in now. Yeah. So I had to cover my body from head to toe. Only my hands, my feet, and my head were allowed to be shown. My hair had to be up all of the time. But I didn't have to cover it because only Muslims do that. Okay. So if I had my hair covered in this specific place where I was living, then it would mean that I follow Allah. I believe in Muhammad. He is the prophet. So. Yeah, so it was hard because I didn't really know the language. All these things of feeling like isolated, even though I'm there. Yeah. I'm not doing a lot of interaction with the people. Yeah. I was living with foreigners. So it was kind of, I was there, but there was this weird distance, and all the stereotypes and the fears that I had, of living there. It didn't really help because I wasn't getting to know the people. I was just seeing them from afar, and I was, thinking, oh, I bet they're this way, and they think of me this way, and, all these things that lack of exposure and communication bring in all these thoughts and anxiety. So eventually I did make local friends, and I became an English teacher. I taught English to this woman down the street, and she introduced me to their family, and she has a son, and he's just a beautiful boy. So in this place, the whole entire family lives together. So, aunts, uncles, grandparents, all these things, all these people, they were in the same house. So it wasn't like I just had one friend. This certain friend would introduce me to 20 people. And then I had a language teacher. And so that's when I started to make connections.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So where you were and being in the culture shock and kind of going through all the different things, was it harder for you to kind of see what God had you doing over there?
You mean like what I was saying, anxious thoughts kind of hindering maybe his direction? Yeah, a little bit. I would say the thing that left me wondering was the lack of big things happening. I was just living in an apartment, and I was getting my groceries, and I was doing very normal things, except I was overseas. And so I was, for a while, I was like, okay, what's my purpose? What am I doing here? Because nothing huge is happening. I didn't see any big miracles, and so I kind of, my flesh was like, oh no, I'm doing something wrong, or I missed something, or God, maybe this was a mistake, or all these things. So that was the hardest part, just kind of living a normal life over there. I felt like I was supposed to be doing more, but reality is evangelism was illegal over there, especially children's ministry. The children very people are protective of their children with religion.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do anything glamorous over there.
There's a pigeon in here, sorry.
I couldn't do anything, big and glamorous over there, like any street evangelism, because I would be kicked out of the country. Yeah. So it was through relationship that I did ministry, and relationship takes time.
Yeah.
So but it taught me, it allowed me to see God move in different ways, not just like big flashy ways, but like under the surface, kind of slowly opening up people, opening up their hearts to me and to my story and to what I believe about God, because it was so different. It was like polar opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with the mention of your story, why don't you tell the folks at home just a little bit about you and kind of that moment where because I believe you grew up in the church.
Yes.
Where was that moment that kind of hit you where, like, it wasn't just a child thing anymore? It was like, oh, this is real. God's real.
Yeah. So my family was pretty broken since I was like a baby. So I grew up in a broken family and just a lot of issues. And yeah, I grew up in the Methodist church, and it was just going through the motions, going to church every Sunday, saying grace. So I did that up until I was like 16. And then things got really, really bad in my family, and I got to a point where I was on my knees crying out to God, like, help me change something. Like, I can't live like this anymore. And 2 weeks later, my whole life changed in a good way, in a positive way, and I knew it was God. I knew it was God. So I started to search. I started to seek for him. I read my Bible. I watched Bible shows. I changed the way I lived. I was in high school, so I could only change so much. But yeah. I started sitting with people that nobody sat with at lunch, and just like little things, and joining youth group and joining other, just changing the way I lived my life, and searching for him. And I knew there was something more to this. I knew it was more than church. And I could feel something on the other side. Like I felt like I was treasure hunting almost. And I could tell that there was something that I was going to find. And so one night I was watching the show called The Bible. It's like a 12 episode series, way before The Chosen. And I think it was the episode where, I'm going to butcher this, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego.
Abednego. Smash Mac, Meshach, and some Smash Smacks.
It's a tongue twister.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Thank you. Yes, they were. They were in.
It's like the Nino, what is the Nino, the Reno, what is it?
I don't know.
Santa Maria. Nino the Pinson. Santa Maria. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, crap. Here we go.
Oh, man.
Broke it.
Tongue twister. So they were in the fire.
Yeah.
They were thrown into the fire, and then, the fourth man showed up in the fire, and I knew it was Jesus. And I don't know, I can't really describe it. Something switched in me. I don't know. I just got really emotional, like really emotional. So yeah. I remember running upstairs, closing my door, and just bawling my eyes out. And I remember feeling Holy Spirit come into my room for the very first time. And I could feel, like, it felt like Jesus was sitting right next to me on my bed. And I was just like bawling. It was a feeling. I didn't really know what was going on. No one was there telling me, well, that's what you were experiencing. It was just Holy Spirit and I. But I felt him touch me, and I felt like my heart just kind of like it just blossomed and opened up and came to life in ways I've never felt before. Yeah. And I knew everything that the Bible said. Everything that I heard in church was true. Like, it wasn't just a story. That man is real, and he's here with me right now. And like, this is that something more. He's real, and I instantly fell in love with him, as people usually do when they meet Jesus. Yeah. He was just so beautiful. Yeah. So ever since then, I've been falling deeper and deeper in love with him, and trying to give him everything.
And growing in the relationship. And I think like what you said earlier with other people is the reason that we need to witness the gospel in relationships is because that's how Jesus first met us.
Yeah.
You know, and like I love hearing when people are telling me, like, you know, I'm out there to build relationships with people. And I think nowadays we get a little too caught up in some of the gifts or some of the interpretations or some of the things, and we kind of miss that whole, like, well, who am I talking to? And I think it's cool that you went for the 3 months then. It's because, you know, it wasn't just a month thing. You just went and you're like, oh, I'm just going to check this out. Like, you walked with people through that. Can you slide your phone over just a little bit more? I think it's just... Okay, now we're good. Sentimental moment, and then it's just ruined by the phone. But no, so being overseas, just getting back, going through that, kind of where you've just been throughout your whole journey. What have you felt the Lord really been speaking into your life recently? Is there any is there any like one particular thing that He's like, I want you to focus on this?
Well, there was something He started to do because I was there alone. I had a host family that lived in the apartment under me, so I'd spend days with them, but at night I would just be me. And so I would just sit with the Lord, and they didn't have heat in the houses, and it got freezing at night. So I had this little gas heater that I would just to light, and I would just sit by the gas heater and open up my Bible. It's actually really cool. Nice. Super outreach moment. But it's in those times that he met me, and I saw him. This is so cool. I saw him in new ways. I feel like his holiness, like the intensity of his holiness was revealed to me.
What do you mean by that?
Like reading through Revelation, it's pretty weird. A lot of it. Yeah. You know, the visions of, you know, the Lamb with 7 eyes and 7 horns and all these things that we don't really understand and are kind of weird to us. That is holiness. So I guess that was just shown to me in a way that it intimidated me, and it gave me more reverence for Him. And before, I really didn't have that. Yeah. I was like, oh, He's so loving and sweet. But then I'm like, whoa, but He's also the Holy of Holies. And there's a storm around His throne. And there's creatures around His throne. And things that I don't understand. But He chooses to come down to my level and speak to me in ways I understand. It's pretty beautiful that He does that. And that He, so holiness is a big thing. And surrender, letting things go and letting Him take them, trusting that He will take care of the things that I care about, and not looking at surrender and sacrifices like God taking away things that I love, and being a thief of the things I love, and just, you know, every time I desire something or I have something I love, Him saying, okay, now put it on the altar and kill it. Like, that's kind of how I viewed Him. So He really, really dug into that, and showed me, like, you do not want to idolize things because idols are burdensome, and that's not the way I created you. So it's important, it's very necessary that you give these things to me so that I can restore them, and I can not allow you to live by it, because you're meant to live by me, you're created to live by me, and I'm the one that sits on the throne, and I'm the one that fills that void in you. Yeah. When you try to fill it with other things. Yeah. Gotcha. It leads to hurt. Yeah. So things like that He started to teach me and is still teaching me. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I've learned about you over the past year is, as we saw earlier, you're amazing at videography, and it was an honor and pleasure to be able to work somewhat on that with you. And then I ended up getting what I think was COVID and couldn't. But the movie Washed, it's a short film that you did originally for a contest. Unfortunately, I think we missed the deadline to.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Was it for a contest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally.
Oh, well.
Anyway, so, and that's how we met, actually, and we met through our mutual friend Monique, who's not sitting in the corner of this room right now. And and she texted me and said, hey, do do you want to help my friend Sadie with a video she's making? Mm-hmm. And then she told us that to meet you and your sister at this forest randomly somewhere. And I'm like, okay. And I thought that you were Amish because she just said my friend Sadie, and everybody I know named Sadie is usually Amish.
Pennsylvania. Not Amish, Mike.
Yeah, we can see that now. I mean, I'm still suspicious. I think you're undercover, but
okay, that's weird.
Oh man, but yeah, so that's how we met.
Yes.
So you made that one. You made another one, and then you and actually Monique did a little series. Was it called Ravioli, I believe?
Yeah.
Which is on Sadie's YouTube channel.
Oh man,
it's so cool, and I thought it was pretty funny. But that's just because I think that you two are just goofballs when you're together. So I mean, you could.
It's true.
Literally just say one word and I'd just be like, oh gosh, what? So what inspired some of these short films that you made and the ravioli thing? Why ravioli?
Oh man, that's a great question. A lot of that was Monique. The ravioli name, I don't know why it's named ravioli.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why we bought sombreros and put mustaches on. It's just, actually that might have been a little bit of me too. Anyways, we put our brains together and then that was birthed. But the mission the mission of ravioli is to give a new perspective on things. And I think people think, if I'm not a missionary or if I'm not a martyr overseas, then I'm not doing anything for God and I'm just living a useless life.
Yeah.
But we wanted to show how God was impacting our day-to-day lives in like the in-between seasons, in the mundane, like going to work, with your family, praying for people that you meet in the cafe, like things like that. We wanted to show the Lord moving through that and him making differences in the small things. So that was ravioli. Silly stuff. And then my other videos are just most of them are out of scripture, because I sometimes I just read something in the Bible, like even just a sentence, and it just hits me. And I feel something, and I don't know, like I see the treasure in those few words. Like it's so deep, and we could literally like zoom in so much to one phrase, and it could have like a whole world behind it. Like a whole, like there's so much depth to the word that God speaks, to the words that God speaks. So I think bringing that to life, something beautiful can happen, and we can really take time to see the detail in his word and not look at the Bible. And I know a lot of my friends that grew up in church. Wow, another one.
Something's going on.
Gosh. So yeah, I know a lot of friends that view the Bible as a book that they have to read, or devotionals that they have to do. For like self-help, or for they just view it as boring, and Jesus as this white guy who's just a religious figure. But he's a person that is real, and that is everyone's first love. They just don't know it. They haven't tasted and seen. And so if I can show them who Jesus really is in the way that I've tasted and seen, then it'll open hearts, and it'll break through stereotypes of Christianity and of Christians. But seeing like the way, if they could see him the way I see him, then I think he can move through that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that your main focus on getting into videography and video and art, and that, or was it the Bible that did, or were you always just interested in movies and things like that?
I was always interested. I would watch, oh my gosh, I would watch a ton of movies, and I would always get so into the movies and empathize so much with the characters that when the movie ended, I would just feel like, what am I supposed to do now? Like I would be so into the movie that I couldn't just like switch back to real life. Like I would just get so involved. And so I think I'm a very visual person, and I love visual storytelling. And I just loved making videos and making people feel things and inspiring people. And when I found the Lord, I was like, okay, this is the only way to do something that's gonna last beyond me and be bigger than me. Because if it's just me making silly things or like travel videos, then it's gonna die with me. Like, what's the point? I'm not making a difference. So when I found the Lord, it was like, okay, this is kingdom stuff that will make a difference, and change people, and allow the Lord to change the world through my life, through my passion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dope.
Sick.
Dope. Sick, son.
Anyways.
So, the movies, you did Washed, what was the other one? 1 Peter
2:9.
1 Peter 2:9, the Ravioli series.
I just did, but that has nothing to do with anything.
Well, what's that about? I mean, what's it about?
It's just about.
Okay.
It's nothing Christian, because it would be too dangerous to make.
Gotcha.
A Christian video.
Gotcha.
Which is where I was. Darn it. That's where I was.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to see you put all this stuff together. Do you have any other projects coming up soon or in the future? Any ideas that you have?
Heck yeah.
Oh, hang yeah.
I'm making a sorrow video. It's a video about sorrow.
Okay.
Walking with the Lord through seasons of sorrow.
Okay.
And when you feel like part of you is dying, and the not so glamorous part about walking with the Lord, but deep in the valleys, where you feel like you're alone and you're just in suffering. That's where God can do the most work. So that's coming out soon.
Okay. Have you started recording it?
Yeah, I already filmed it.
Oh, it's all done.
5 months ago, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Just need to edit it.
All right.
So that's gonna be coming.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Anything else?
Well, I have so many ideas.
Yeah.
I have a note on my phone that literally I could be scrolling for 3 minutes straight. That's how much stuff is in there.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things in scripture that I want to bring to life.
Yeah.
So I have so many ideas, and I'm going to keep creating no matter what, because that's like my form of worship. That's how I worship him. That's why he made me. So after the sorrow video, there's this other video that I want to make to inspire followers of Christ to I don't know, to not be held down by the enemy's schemes, to be aware of what he's doing, and to know the one that walks with you, because Jesus is incredible.
Yeah.
And
do you feel like we've gotten away from that message as the body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's so many ways that we glorify the devil that we don't even realize. We blow him up, we focus on him. We zoom into his schemes and therefore get distracted from the Lord himself.
Yeah.
So if we can zoom in on the Lord and be like, okay, do you know that this man walks with you wherever you go? Do you know that he never leaves your side? That you can talk to him all the time, anywhere you want? It's incredible. So I think we just need to realize that, which is hard because it's so intense. But if we could just try to realize who, the presence that we have inside of us, the spirit that we have inside of us, then we would live differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think that living differently looks like from your opinion and your perspective?
That's a good question.
You think and answer. I gotta check something.
Okay, good. I need to think. You're gonna edit this out, right?
No, keep going.
He's not gonna edit it out. Okay.
Just want to make sure it was recording.
I don't know. I think.
Tick, tick, tick.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Unnecessary. I think fear is such a thief. Fear of anything, but fear of man mostly. just being so like overly self-conscious of ourselves. And this is something I'm walking through right now.
Yeah.
So I definitely am still, I allow myself to be enslaved to it a little bit. But just walking fearlessly and being bold with what we believe. Like, yeah, I don't know, like people that knew me before I fell in love with the Lord, would I feel uncomfortable going up to them and telling him that I love Jesus, that I'm living for him? And if I do, then it's because I'm allowing myself to be crippled by fear of man. And I don't know, I think just living fearlessly, living boldly and courageously, and not being afraid to talk to people about him, and basically, in a way, symbolically, wear his name on our foreheads. Like, are we prepared to do that, or are we compartmentalizing things and showing certain parts of ourselves to certain people and then turning that off and switching around if we're hanging out with other people, and not allowing him to take over our whole lives and be his kids and be free in his identity, who he says we are. So
yeah.
I don't know, I'm still trying to figure that out, but I think fear of man is...
Yeah, I think fear, like you're saying, is something that definitely holds back. I think we need a definition of what boldness is. I think Christianity in general has just become too institutionalized and more set as a curriculum rather than a call to action. And through that, like just what you're saying, like to be able to just say like, hey, I'm in love with God for sending his only son to die for me.
Yeah.
And trying to understand what that fully means, like really understanding that.
Yeah.
I think that we've gotten into a generation where it was just Sunday church, and just believe in Jesus and you're good to go. And now everyone, I think at least in this generation coming up, younger generation, where we're like, they're looking for something new. But I don't think it's new. I think it's old. I think it's the same thing. Western American Christianity has only been around for 400 years. The gospel's been around for over 2,000.
Right.
So when do we start getting back to the simplicity of what he was saying?
That's good.
And that's where I feel like a lot of people, especially through you, how it's expressed through you, how he worked through you. And like you said, I think we miss how God can be used through our creativity, what he made us to be, and who's to say that he can't use a video on YouTube to change someone's life? I've watched it happen before. I don't think that should be the forefront of like, I'm consistently just going to make YouTube videos because it helped one person. It's got to be something that's led and directed. And that's what I love doing with this. I have all types of people on here, and even if I don't get a chance to talk about Jesus, I usually hope that God can be heard through that person's story if they don't believe. And, it's fine. That's a personal decision between them and the Lord. And all we can do is pray.
Right. Pray for them,
Yeah. Did you feel any of that when you were overseas? Kind of like how I know you couldn't speak out for certain reasons, but was there ever a time where you felt like even if you did speak out, it might not have been received or reciprocated as trying to be loving?
Yeah, I think this is why it's so important. When you go overseas, you need to understand the way people view things. Like, you need to understand their worldview and their values.
Yeah.
Because it's different than ours. So I think it was tricky because that slipped. Because
I'll just bleep it out.
Tricky with bleep.
Bleep. What'd she say?
I didn't curse.
Or just do like a chicken noise.
Yeah. Okay, that's mean. Basically, it's a very, this might not answer your question, but it's a very shame honor culture. So like towards the end of my time, it was Ramadan. Ramadan came around. So people were fasting all day and feasting all night. And it was pretty intense. And it was it was all works based. You wanted to be a good Muslim, and if you didn't do this, you're probably going to hell. Like it was very serious. Unless of course you have diabetes, there's exceptions and all these things, it's very strange how they justify some things and then other things they don't. But so they would fast all day, and I would go over to teach my friend English, and they would always prepare food for me and give it to me, and hoping that I would eat it in front of them, and therefore give them points, like bonus points, like I'm fasting and you're not, and I'm a good Muslim. And I didn't know that at first. I was, the more you spend, the more time you spend in a culture, the more you understand why people do things. But yeah, I wanted to love them, but I didn't want to feed their people pleasing. And I didn't want to love them in their broken way so that they would receive it and nothing would change. Yeah. So that was kind of the question, and I'm not sure if I figured that out, and I know that Holy Spirit moved through me and changed people. I know that. But for that culture specifically, I think I still wonder, how do you love them in a holy and truthful way, and not in a way that keeps them in this cultural cycle of, I have to earn love, I have to do things for you, and that will make you love me, all of these things. But just loving them because you are God's child and God made you, and I see God in you and I love you. So that was hard. Yeah. And I don't know if I got a finger on that. So
yeah, I think it's the hardest thing with a culture shock.
Yes.
Do you plan to continue to go overseas?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel something in the pit of me. That sounded dark. In a good pit.
It's in the abyss. Run for your life.
Oh my gosh. No, in the good place of me. Where I feel like I know God put something in me for Africa. And when he called me, I wasn't expecting it, because I have a heart for like sub-Saharan Africa, so like the southern half of the continent. But he said North Africa. I was like, okay, God, not sure what you're doing. So in my mind, that's like a pit stop on the way to the place that is really, really on my heart. Yeah. But as of now, I don't see that being long term. I see it being maybe a 3-6 month trip, something like that. But I know I'm supposed to be here in Lancaster right now and film and create. Yeah. I just have peace about that. So maybe in the future.
Yeah. I'm always an advocate for people that want to, go overseas and make a difference. But, and I know that this is just for anybody out there that may be thinking of going overseas, but your backyard is your mission field too, Yeah. And right now there's 2 countries, I'm not going to name them right now because it's some of it's out there, some of it's not. They're actually training up a group of there's a group of pastors training up evangelists from other countries to come to America because they view us as a lost country.
No way.
And
that's, wow.
That's hard to disagree with. With things. I think that we have gotten so far away from. I don't know. I'm the type of person that doesn't agree with the whole mixing religion and politics in this time together. And I kind of backed it up with Jesus when he says, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and render unto God what is God's. Yeah. There's always going to be political figures that are in charge until the day that we die here, until, he comes back, and that's it. So when I look at like other countries, I kind of get a little bit of a smile because I'm like, wow, people over there are really, really starting to get the simplicity of it and noticing things here. And I don't want to trash America in that way though, because if it wasn't for American, missionaries and people going over there, then most of the countries wouldn't have heard the gospel in the first place. So it's kind of like a repay thing of how far we've stepped away, and now the love that we left in other places are like, these guys need help. So it's an interesting time.
Yeah, it is.
In our faith. There's a lot of confusion going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that as much as I have, but It's been it's been kind of, even in my own life. I recently, just this past weekend, was at Lake Erie with a mutual friend of ours through GCC, and it was just like a re-piercing. My heart had gotten so hard and so stoned and just so calloused over the past couple of months, and like it took me to realize after getting back from that trip of like, okay, I'm being just a spoiled brat right now, and I know what I need to do, and you know what I need to do is just lay it all down and surrender everything.
Whoa.
Like everything.
Whoa.
I think that's tough for a lot of Christians to do.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing for Christians to do is to renounce their American Christianity and follow Christ.
Whoa. Amen. That's the truth.
I mean,
we're spoiled.
Yeah.
We have everything we need at our fingertips.
We do.
Do we know? I mean, I think there is persecution, but do we know what it's like to be rejected by our family, by society?
Yeah.
You know, like the place I was at, if people come out and say they're Christian, they're shunned by everyone.
Yeah.
They lose their job, they lose their house.
And you know what's interesting to me? I think like what you're saying with that. I mean, I know people know about that, but I don't think they know the reality of it, like, because they don't experience it firsthand. They just hear about it, and we're we're exposed to. I think it's like 7 news stories an hour because of social media, because of, you know, just the way the technology has gone, that we kind of just don't realize how far away that like we are disconnected with the world, even though we like think that we're
connected.
Think that we're connected. And the funny thing is, though, last year I think last year really lit a fire under a lot of people's butts to be like, look at these people taking the streets. You know, they were pissed off, and rightfully so. And change happened because of that. And as much as a lot of Christian friends that I have want to like bash the things that happened last year, why aren't we doing that? You know, why aren't we taking to the streets with love for all of those people? And that's where I see this just tension coming to a forefront of not just with the world and Christianity, but I see it in between Christians as well. And it's not the healthy kind of headbutting like Paul and Barnabas. You know, it's a I know more than you type mentality.
Wow.
I could totally be speaking out of terms, but it's just what I see, and that's you know.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think there's, especially last year through the virus, like a lot of gook in ourselves has been exposed, and we are I think of like Acts in that church and all the things that happened in such a short amount of time, and how we're over here just headbutting each other, and we're not growing the church. We can't even live with ourselves. We can't even be a friend to our brother and be humble, you know, like we need to start there, and then we'll see the church growing. But if we have issues in between each other, you know, fellow brothers and sisters, then there's something in our hearts that we need to let go of.
And it's hard to, I think, when you can't show mercy to your brothers and sisters in Christ, then how are you going to show mercy to the world?
Exactly.
You know, it's not a judgmental thing.
Right.
Jesus portrayed that to the fullest in the Gospels and the things that he did in the parables that he spoke. It was pretty plain, you know, and he says some strong language. And
he does.
You know, one of the strongest verses that has always pierced me, that I'm still not sure on, that like really confuses me, is the many who call upon my name, Lord, Lord, we did this in your name, we did this in your name. And he says, turn from me, I didn't know you. Like, you know, I reread that last week, and I'm just like, wait a minute, you know, and it really, it hit again like it did before, of like, wow, like, these aren't non-believers. They're not saying that they're not doing these things in his name. He's saying that they are doing them in his name, and he's still saying, turn from me.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that?
You just sit on that one for a while.
Isn't that a little? Whew.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, I've been thinking about that verse actually too, but the second half where he's like, I was in that poor and needy person. Like I was there. Yeah. And people got so caught up on, we didn't see you. You weren't there. Like you were up in heaven, but it's crazy how much he is here. But yeah, I think he wants our hearts. He wants our hearts. Yeah. He doesn't want the big fancy actions. He doesn't want the large successful ministry. I think that's fruit.
Yeah.
But he wants our hearts. He wants relationship. He wants a surrendered life, and he wants to be close to us. And if we're skipping that step and just going to, I'm doing this in your name, and look at me, God, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and I'm going to make this big difference, but it's not going to be like multiplied successfully if it's not coming from the vine itself. And we're not really sitting in the secret place and allowing him to refine us and really take time and anoint us with these passions and these gifts. Like it has to start with our hearts. We have to give him ourselves and have that intimacy.
Yeah. I think of the verse of Psalm by David, show me the secret faults of my heart, the hidden things that I don't even know about.
Right.
To sit, and I think that was one of the craziest things. Probably when was that 2019? I went away for 3 days by myself, really just secluded, and I was scared. And I was scared because I was sitting, not that I was alone, but because I was alone with myself. And I think that's where refining really starts. Because we can ask God to take away all we want to, and I know that He blesses people with that, but I think that there's a forefront of responsibility where you need to just kind of sit down with yourself and get through all those things in your head and just wait till there's nothing left but Him.
Whoa.
And I think that's part of kind of seeing where we're headed. Snap the finger.
I mean, yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the, even Christian stuff, like activities, youth groups, worship nights, blah, 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 keep going and going and going. But that's something that God's been doing in my life is forcing me to slow down. Yeah. Whether it's my body is literally exhausted.
Well, the three of us actually, with the worship nights last year in coronavirus, which was really a blessing. They were some of my favorite times, just getting together beforehand. And it wasn't even about the night itself that we were premiering. It was about just friends getting together and loving the Lord and praying and worshiping beforehand and trying to throw everything together at the last minute and laughing hysterically. I still laugh at that video though. Hi guys, I'm Monique and this is my
You guys were cracking up literally right before I turned on the camera.
I know, right when you turned it on.
That was risque.
It's Mike and Monique in the morning.
Oh, so funny.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
I miss those times. I just missed getting together and just doing random stuff like that. That was fun.
Yeah,
and producing that. But an example of what you're saying though, with that stuff, you can get burnt out from that because then it kind of felt like after we did a handful of them, it just kind of felt like, okay, this is what we have to do right now to keep people interested in God. And no, I think that kind of slipped out of our hands a little bit.
Yeah.
But
that's true. Yeah, I don't really remember much of that time. That felt like 10 years ago.
It did feel like 10 years ago. It was only last year.
Wow.
Literally a year to this month, right? No, we started in April.
Yeah, I think we started earlier.
I think it was April.
That was, that was good times. It's all coming back now.
It's all coming back. I don't remember any of those times. You know what? Those were good times.
Second.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
Anyway, so all right, so when can we expect the new video?
It has to be done, what's today, June 1st?
Yes.
It has to be done within, what's 7 times 3? 21. Okay. Sorry, just doing some mental math.
Oh,
it has to be done in 2.5 weeks. So in 2.5 weeks.
Why 2.5 weeks?
Because it's being shown at something at the Branch Network. I don't know a ton about the Branch.
I never heard of the Branch.
Me neither. Until
Go ahead, please.
It's in. It's
Speak up.
Intercourse at Ridgeview Mennonite. It's a group of people. It's really cool. I can explain it later.
Okay, so it's a place somewhere, and it's filled with people that are really cool, is what she said.
a lot of ex-conservative people, but very spirit-led and
Okay.
truth-driven.
What
Amen. Sorry, what?
Anyway, so it's this place
Yeah.
with people,
Out
and
of 10.
they like Jesus, I think, from what she's saying.
Very, very truth-led, spirit-led. That's really cool.
So you're going to have another premiere there.
Yes.
How was the premiere? I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to go to it. I had
It's
so much
fine.
going on. She's already mad at me. We had a little tippet before we started the podcast. She hates me now.
No.
No,
Not
she does.
hate.
She does.
Hate's a strong word.
I'm sorry, not hate.
Strongly dislike.
If I were walking across the road, she probably would hope that a bus was coming.
Oh
on the
my
other.
gosh, no. Of course not. It's crazy. Okay, anyway. What was your question?
What did I say?
We were talking about the branch.
Branch premiere. How was the premiere? Because I missed it and you hate me.
I don't hate you. It was good. It was pretty crazy. I think like almost 100. How many people were there? A ton of people.
Yeah.
And
that was the first thing I ever experienced like that, because our red
Yeah.
carpet that we had was 6 people that were all in the movie. And I had a bowl of popcorn, and I insulted everybody for like 2 minutes, and then we went into.
You're an awful MC. It was bad.
I'm gonna reach out to the branch and ask if I can MC this without you knowing. I'll just go.
Oh no. Well, that's like a whole creative night thing.
Yeah. Oof.
Really loud.
Jeez. See, she's angry at me. That was
Righteous
putting
anger.
down the cup of fury.
Oh man, but yes.
Anyway, yes.
The premiere
The premiere.
was good.
Okay.
Very fancy. There was a red carpet. There was photographers. It was also. It wasn't. Thank the Lord. It wasn't just about me.
Yeah.
There
Well, there was other people there, and you were doing like a raffle, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
there was like different creators like who did different kinds of art.
Okay.
They made things, and then they kind of did silent auction. Thank you. Whatever that's called, a silent auction. And all the proceeds went to a family in need.
Awesome.
So it was amazing. So it wasn't just like a.
It wasn't like about you. It
Yeah.
was about,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I mean, it was about your movie and Jesus
about
being
the
shown through your
Lord.
movie and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Through creativity.
your creativity.
How much he moves through that.
So why don't you explain kind of what the movie was about and what inspired you to make that second one?
1 Peter 2:9.
Correct.
The movie was about 1 Peter 2:9.
And scene.
And that's it. Man, what inspired me? I don't think I even remember how I was inspired. I think I read the scripture, and I think it was like really casual. Mo was there. I was thinking about like bonfires and how fun they are, and then I was reading, 1 Peter, and how it says, we are children called into the light, out of darkness into his light. And so I was like, wow, that'd be cool if I could like make that real, like
Bring that to life,
personify it. Yeah. So that's what I did. And we got some good people together, some friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And yeah, people are always very generous with their time, and I think we filmed it in December or something. It was freezing cold, and I had people like covered in mud and just like, yeah, it was
Man.
running into
Shout out to
trees.
those people, because I wouldn't do that for them.
They are amazing people. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we made it, and then we showed it, and I was like, oh, maybe we can do something like small like we did.
Yeah.
We can just get some friends together and watch it together. And they're like, let's do a premiere, red carpet premiere. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then they organized all of it. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is amazing. And tons of people showed up. It
Yeah.
was valet. Like the whole thing was pretty amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool how they really just came around you and supported you, because
Yeah.
I wish, I don't want to say I wish, but like that night that we did, I wish could have been more like that, because
Yeah.
we put a lot of hard work into what that was, and you specifically with the editing, and everyone that saw the video in the beginning, like your scores are perfect, the way that you transition is great. I mean, you were just made to do this. And then the first Peter video, I love the violin, I love the violin through
You
the
like
whole
the
thing. Oh my
violin?
gosh, it's so good.
Ooh, the music.
Yes.
It always starts with the song, Mike. Like, I listen to the song.
Right?
And then I'm like, okay, this makes me feel like sad. Okay, let me put it in the lens of Jesus.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, that's sorrow.
Yep.
How does that point to him? How can we lift him up through this feeling?
Yeah.
So it starts with these beautiful compositions, and then I just like, I see the pictures in my head, and then
Right.
it's just a matter of
I'm the same
executing.
way. I'm the same way with
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
It always starts with the music for me. I used to do
Yes.
little video clips for YouTube. I took them down. There's maybe like 2 left up there. That where I would just hear the music first and I could just see everything. Now the problem was I had to go through YouTube and screen record everything that I thought that I was seeing in my head to put the video together. But it still turned out like, I mean, it is all about the music, I think. Like when you're trying to relay something that's like inspirational or like a motivational thing or something like that.
It's like a foundation.
It is, yes.
You build off
you just
of.
build right off of that. And you did such a great job with it.
Thank
you really
you.
did. It was good. I love that video.
It's a cool video.
And the new one that you're going to be coming out with, is that going to be a short one like the last 2, or do you think you're going to kind of expand into maybe making little short series, anything like that? You want to,
It's kind of
and I want to help you.
That's weird.
Because I want to help you with a movie.
It's kind of strange.
I just like to sing.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, no, it's not gonna be long.
Okay.
It's gonna be
a short one.
Yeah. Mo is an actress in it.
Again?
Again?
Another one? The last time she got beat up, so.
Oh yeah, this time she's. Yeah, well, you'll see.
She's so like nervous right now.
Just stare at her.
Just stare at her.
You okay?
Make her feel uncomfortable. What's wrong? You're mad?
No, it's so
Oh, the
She's
acting.
Listen.
In the new one?
That's my video you're talking about.
Wow, you just called Sadie's video bad.
Oh, jeez.
Monique's going to come on the show here soon because she promised me she would. Anyways.
Ooh.
that's a lie.
That's not a lie.
Lying is a sin.
Oh, my phone's recording. I'll show the text message later.
Oh.
Proof. Oh, boy. All right. Let's wrap this up here. But the final thing I do want to say is I really have been so appreciative of your friendship. And I mean that. Like, it's so cool just how, like, you, myself, Troy, Peter, Becca, Mo, like, we had that little just group going there for a little bit. And it just felt like a fun little family just to kind of do things with. So I appreciate everything how you've been a blessing in my life, and hopefully I have done the same thing back, even though you're mad at me. And then, but my final question for you is this: after everything that we've talked about with kind of where Christianity is right now, if there was somebody out there that didn't know that God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, what would you tell that person, and not through an institutionalized Christian view, but through a personal relationship and walking view?
You mean just with words?
Yes. If you can.
I mean, just like, I think it blows people's minds when you have opportunities to say things like, I've met him. Like, I've maybe not seen him with my physical eyes, but I've seen him, and he's changed me. He's changed my life. He's healed me. He's restored my family. He is restoring my family. Like, things that nobody else can do, and I certainly can't do, he's doing it. So I don't know. I think it comes back to, like, I've met him. He's real. He's talked to me, and I've talked to him back, and he's my best friend.
Yeah.
And he's a person, and I love him so much. Like, he's here right now. Just like remembering he's a person, you know, not some big, like, way up in the clouds. You know, he's right here with us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming by.
Very welcome.
Where can people check out your videos at?
YouTube is a good place. It's typically where videos are. Mike.
What's your channel's name, Sadie?
Oh man, that's a whole different question. Man, I think it's Sadie E. Okay. If you're typing this in, which I know everyone is,
It is. It's Sades space capital E period.
I don't know why I did it like
That's
that.
SADES. I'll put it in the description below.
Thank you.
Oh,
That's
man.
my nickname. That's
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Sades. If anyone wants to contact you,
Yes.
maybe helping you with a movie coming up, or wants to be a part of your movie, or would have any ideas for you,
Yeah.
how can they get a hold of you?
Instagram
Instagram.
or Facebook.
Okay.
My Instagram profile's private, I think, but I can change that. Yeah, and I have direct, like, the link in my bio is my YouTube.
Okay.
So through social media, just things
Just
like
through
that.
social media.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you
yeah.
have any questions for her about our interview here today, how you can help her with her videos or mentally, or if you just want to
Please.
get to know more about her,
Kidding.
then you can contact her. I'll have her Facebook in the description below, along with her YouTube video. As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and at YouTube at Wallace Production, WALLESS Production. What?
Why Wallace Production? Who's Wallace?
So, a friend of mine years ago, we had this idea that we were going to be revolutionists, side story, and start a church that was solely outside, and it was going to be without walls. So it was wallless. I then stole the
Smart.
name from him, and then started a YouTube channel of it, and I started doing daily Bible study hours, which are still on the channel if you want to check them out.
Cool.
They were really short. I think I did Daniel, Revelation, and part of Ezekiel's wheel. I was also a very heavy conspiracy theorist back then, so some of that may kind of bleed over into it, but still pretty good stuff. I think the Lord used it to, what he wanted to get across. But yeah, so anyway, so I started Wallace, and the pod, or the whatever I used to call it, a podcast. It wasn't a podcast. It was just me talking to a small microphone and putting movies up. It was called Shed Talk, because I was in my shed and
You were
recorded
talking.
it, and I talked in my shed, and I also had a talking shed.
Whoa, cool.
So that's where Wallace came from. So I just kept
Okay.
that and used that for the show. Yeah. If that answered your question.
Cool
Thank you for
story.
interrupting my ending.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Kill
thank you
that.
so much, my friend, for coming on. I do appreciate it.
welcome.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.